On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Where did wifey learn that from? Is this something that she invested in herself, or has she always been like that? Because to your point, we growing up in the hood, you had girls that were tomboys, and they look at them later on in life, they still have that tomboy essence. But then you have females who were always dainty, always just super soft and pleasant to be around.
Think about that though, really.
Yeah, I agree.
The chicks that you went to high school with, right? And it was the pretty girl, dainty, whatever you want to call it, whatever. And it was the tough talking. Did you see an evolution in the tough talks? Honestly.
No. The girls that was gang banging and thugging in high school still gang banging and thugging. They let the GDs in the dough.
Gang banging.
They let the GDs in the dough.
They didn't change. They didn't evolve. They didn't start to get into some kind of feminine frame or some crap like that. They became more of what they already are. Honestly.
Well, tell me what you think is masculine in a woman, because women are women. People are people. People get upset. Women and their femininity, and as a feminine woman, might cuss because we're upset. It doesn't necessarily tell you, hey, she's such a masculine woman because we get angry or we get loud one time. So tell me, in your definition, what is masculine energy? When you say you're a masculine woman, what is that?
I'm looking at I just looked at the chat, and Kev said my mother didn't change. Instead, she stopped acting against the way that she was raised. There's a difference.
Say that again. I didn't see.
Kev said his mother didn't change. You can't even use his mother as an example.
Well, I mean, I use his mother as an example because on his show he said, my mother got remarried and she was a different person when she got married. I mean,
the best, honestly, if we really just want to be real and just get straight to it, the best way that I can describe and use as an example is just to look at what we've been seeing on a panel for a regular basis. I mean, I think that there's a stark difference between Kay and Amir.
Is it masculine or just ideology?
No, I think it's masculine and feminine energy. I think that there's and I mean, I'm not saying that anything is wrong or right, so I'm not going to use them and attack them specifically. But I think that their behavior is a reflection of the difference between masculine and feminine energy. When Amir, I watched the other day, Amir, the lead attorney, said something that I didn't agree with to Amir. And Amir did not go at him, and she did not start arguing back and forth with him. She didn't go off on him. She just fell back and was just like, it is what it is. It doesn't mean that people don't get upset. It doesn't mean that people don't get angry. It don't mean that you don't have emotions. But she didn't automatically just turn into this masculine man and start going at him. She just fell back and was like, okay. She was just chill. She did not go back and forth with him. She did not argue with him. She did not raise her voice. She did not trip out. She stayed soft. She stayed chill. She stayed classy. She just stayed in a feminine space. And so I think that that's the difference between masculine and feminine energy. It does not change and evolve based off of who they're talking to. It's just the way that they are instinctively amongst all people. Women smile. They don't smile depending on who the guy's talking to. They just smile. It's some women that just smiles as they walk down the street. So, I look at it a little bit differently, and I don't think that you can change the stripes on an animal. I think that they just hide it a little bit better.
Amira, can a woman with masculine energy be trained to be feminine?
I saw some studies by Dr. Friedman regarding children and how when you're growing up, how your personality and your behavior stays with you as you grow older and how you become into adulthood. He mentioned that the core of you is always there, that all you can do is be conscious of what you're doing. But once you get out of your conscious mind, your natural behavior will come back. So I guess an example would be English isn't my first language. When I'm upset or if I get excited about something, even feelings of happiness over excitement, I start speaking my language out of nowhere just because that's my core. That's how can you say, I grew up with this, so I start doing it. When you talk about women changing their behavior as they get older, I think the best that we can do is be conscious and make an effort to correct the behavior that we see as unfit. But I do believe that in certain situations, you will revert back to what you naturally are. I think those things are already embedded in your core. That's why they say be careful how you train your children, be careful how you raise them, because these things will follow, whether they like it or not.
I think that's a good point. Go ahead, Red, like she's about to ready to say something.
Yeah, I was about to piggyback off that because you're right. The Bible does, well, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the Quran, but in the Bible, it does say train up a child in the way that it should go, right? And when they are older, they won't depart from it. However, you know, I would push back a little bit, Anton, in the sense that, you know, we're all human beings, most of us. And I agree with you. With the observable eye, do we see the results of people in mass going to these you know, these charm schools? Do we see people going to cotillions anymore or becoming debutantes? Or no, we don't see it in mass. But if I'm looking at the question, you know, is it can a woman with masculine energy be trained to be feminine? It's crazy because I was having that conversation with my sister today. We was literally talking about it because, I mean, you know, she obviously born and raised south side of Chicago, and you know, it's a different beast. And for her entire life, what she's known to do is fight and be aggressive. And there's times when we're talking, I just have to be like, yo, slow down. It's cool. Relax, right? So in mass, do we see people run into these charm schools and we see them churning out, you know, feminine women? No, I agree in that regard. But, you know, I would also point to, of those women that we do know of, and this was what I was going to ask, you know, maybe Courtney could speak to it more than me, of the women that, if you know of women that go to these charm schools, debutantes that are adults, because you do get the emails where women are saying, hey, I'm changing, I'm trying to be better, this, that, and the third, whoop-de-woo. Of those percentages, do you see them transforming into feminine women?
I can't. I mean, I can't pinpoint a percentage or anything like that. I would say that the majority of the people that I coach are men. And then the women that I generally coach, most of the time, it's not as it relates to, you know, anything like that. Most of the time, it's money, finances, you know what I'm saying, business, things like that. I will say and use my wife as an example, right? She came from the hoodest of the hoods in Detroit. She was born right on Joy Road. She has came on my platform and talked extensively about how she was raised in an environment in her household. Mother was not the nicest to men, has never been married. You know, she don't even like dealing with her mother sometimes when she gets in her masculine energy, as far as like her combativeness and all of this other type of stuff. And I mean, she's not, according to what statistics are saying, supposed to even be the type of person that she is. But my wife don't have a masculine bone in her body. I mean, she steps back. She don't believe in none of that. I mean, she is very much an attitude, mentality, and how she approached things very similar to Amira, to be honest with you.
Where did
Ain't
she
got a
get that from?
masculine bone in her body. So even though she was raised in that type of environment, she's not a combative person. She don't fight. She not all of that. She none of that. She ain't got none of that in her, bro. From birth, from the time that I met her all the way up until today, ain't got a masculine, combative, none of that in her body, bro, at all.
My question was, where
I couldn't answer as far as the percentages because I don't deal with a lot of women.
I'm saying, I was about to ask, where did wifey learn that from? Is this something that she invested in herself, or has she always been like that? Because to your point, you know, we growing up in the hood, you had girls that were tomboys, and you know, they, you know, look at them later on in life, they still have that tomboy essence. But then you have females who were always dainty, always just super soft and pleasant to be around.
Think about that though, Rilla.
Yeah, I agree.
The chicks that you went to high school with, right? And it was the pretty girl, dainty, whatever you want to call it, whatever. And it was the tough talking. Did you see an evolution in the tough talks? Honestly.
No. The girls that was gang banging and thugging in high school still gang banging and thugging. They let the GDs in the dough.
Gang banging.
That's my
Yeah, they let
point,
the
bro.
GDs in the dough.
They didn't change. They didn't evolve. They didn't start to get into some kind of feminine frame or some crap like that. They became more of what they already are, honestly.